Welcome to Thank You for Playing Podcast, where we talk about all gaming news. Anything revolving around gaming, we own it. And today I'm joined by my co-hosts, Toro and Lambo. How you guys doing today?
What's good, everybody? Well. Oh yeah, we here and we ready to rock.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Anything?
How you doing, BLJ? How was your trip?
Oh, you know what? I'm glad you asked. Your boy went to Colorado. Was it last weekend? No, it was last weekend or the weekend before. I'm not sure. It was super recent. Anyways, Denver was a good time. Never been there before, but hung out with an old college buddy of mine, guy I used to play football with back in the day, 13 years ago, something like that. Hung out with him, his wife, his baby, and their dog.
Ooh.
It was a good time. It was a good time, man. We ate a lot of BS. You know, I probably gained a little weight.
And the food up there is real good, though, so it's hard to blame you.
I ain't even gonna lie, man. Like, the food was pretty good. We went to this one place called Blue Pan, Detroit style pizza. Pretty tasty, man. Pretty tasty.
Now I want pizza.
No, it was a good time though, man. One thing I didn't like, and I mean, I love animals and all, but his dog, man, this fool want to lick you for like 5 minutes straight, man. I had to push the dog away a couple times, man. Like, get off me, man. But
let me love you.
But no, it was a super good time though, man. I plan on going back here pretty soon, actually. So,
hell yeah,
it was fun, man. But quick question for you guys. So as you know, EVO is coming up here in less than 2 weeks. Less than 2 weeks.
Fast approaching.
Yep. And if I remember correctly, Lambo, you've been to EVO once, correctly?
I have.
I've been to EVO, I think 3 times. I went in 2010, and then I went in 18 and 19. And I would have went the next couple of years, but the pandemic happened. But I'm going this year. And then
ruined everything.
Toro luck is hood out because he ain't been not one damn time. Womp, womp, womp.
You were supposed to go.
And check this out. I want to say this year and last year, I was like, hey, man, can you make it? And he was like, nah, I got stuff to do. And then I was like, man, like, I buy the room. You got to buy the room. That's one of the less expense, man. I just want him to come.
Mm-hmm.
But, I guess when the time, works out in his favor, he'll make it out. It's a good time.
Well, don't take it personal. That's what he told me, too.
Life, my guys. Life. The shackles of responsibility.
Yeah.
I asked my finances, can I go? Hell no, you can't go. You better sit your ass down somewhere. I'm sure y'all understand.
No, I get it,
one day.
I get it.
Yeah.
But quick question for you guys before we get into the main topic. Us being
what you got?
Fighting game guys, guys who really follow fighting game news. We watch tournaments on all different types of fighters. Give me maybe a moment or two from EVO that really sticks out to you guys. Explain that moment.
Lambo, you want to take the floor on this one?
Yeah, go Lambo.
Yeah, so when I was at EVO, I was in EVO back in 2014. And I remember being there for the Smash finals. And what was it? I think it was Melee. I don't know. I don't know Smash that well, so I'm not sure. But I think it was Melee finals. And they had this guy on there that was playing Pikachu. And like, I just didn't really care for Smash. It's kind of boring for me to watch. Like, it's fun to play in a party setting for me. But as far as watching competitive Smash, I just can't get into it. I can't get into the one-on-one with no items and all that. And so really, like, I remember my girl, she went with me and she had left to go get food or something. And I was staying to hold our seats. And I remember this guy. I don't even remember the player's name now, but he was playing Pikachu and he was just... he was the, no pun intended, he was the only electrifying part of the Smash tournament for me. He was pulling off some crazy plays, and the one that I remember the most, he was fighting, I think, a guy playing Star Fox, and at one point in the match, he knocks this guy off of the screen and just goes chasing after him off the screen and hits him midair, almost at the bottom, to just finish him off and smash him down. I forget what it's called when you actually like kill somebody in that game, when you take a life from them. But yeah, smashes him down to finish the life, and like, that just blew my mind to see somebody do that. And then I think that actually was the end of the game too. Like, that clinched the win for him, and it was just crazy to see live. And then to hear the crowd erupt, like, it's a whole different feeling. Like, I don't care to watch football or sports or anything on TV, but if I'm at a game, it's a whole different vibe. And it was the same feeling with Smash when that happened. When the crowd erupted, like, it's just infectious. And I was right along with them.
Man, two things. So you said the crowd erupted and it's infectious, right? Mm-hmm. I want to say every time I've been to EVO, especially the first time I went in 2010, I think that's when Gamer B was like, he was, I won't say up and coming, but I think he was super popular at the moment. He was playing Adon. And I think that's when Justin Wong was playing Rufus and Ricky Ortiz was playing. Who did Ricky Ortiz play? He played Rufus as well, right?
Yeah, she played
Street Fighter 4.
Yeah, Ricky Ortiz. She played Chun-Li.
Okay,
she played Chun-Li. Yeah,
man.
She played Chun-Li.
So that time for sure, and even the more recent times I went, the energy there, man, is pretty different, man. I mean, you in there under one roof with people from Japan, Mexico, Brazil, but like we're all there for one reason, and you see one hype moment, and to hear like hundreds of people just like yelling and roaring, like it's a different feeling, man. It really do get you hyped, man. It's a good time, man.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it is a completely different atmosphere actually being there.
Mm-hmm. One more thing you mentioned too. You said you went with your girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
How was that? Is your girlfriend a gamer?
So when we first started dating, we had actually only been together, like 6 months at the time.
Okay.
Maybe 7-8 months. And like, she had dabbled in video games a bit before, but not super heavily. Like, she really only played Kingdom Hearts prior to that, and then just kind of some standard fare, I think, in the past, like Mario and things like that.
Yeah.
But then over time, she has grown into playing a lot more games. Like, she's started to play some of the Final Fantasy games now as well.
Yeah.
And like, Kingdom Hearts was her favorite game, and now The Witcher 3 is her favorite, and she's put I don't know how many hundreds of hours into playing that game.
Oh wow.
But she thought that she wasn't going to have a good time at EVO because she wasn't really into games.
Okay.
And I remember on the drive there, I pulled up the EVO moment with Daigo, with the Daigo parry.
Okay.
And I showed her that clip and explained to her like what exactly was happening. I was, okay, this is a parry. He's having to press forward in synchronized with this guy's attacks to get these parries to work. And I forget, what was it, like 14 or 15 parries back to back. And once I explained to her what was happening, and she realized, like, she was like, oh, that is pretty legit. And then she kind of got a little excited. She was still a bit apprehensive, but then once we got there, I want to say it was like early morning on Saturday, they had the Blaze Blue finals.
Yep.
And she was enthralled in those finals. Like, she thought the game looked great, was fun to watch, and watching all the different players do all the crazy stuff that they were doing, she just got into it. And then outside of Smash, because we both didn't like watching Smash, she was into the matches for all the other games. She was getting into the crowd and cheering and everything, just like the rest of us. And by the end of it, had a lot of fun with it.
Oh, that's what's up. Yeah,
that's a cool little story to hear.
Yeah, that's cool. I remember the last time I went with my ex, actually, she's not into video games. I want to say the most gaming we did together was play the story-driven The Walking Dead Telltale series games.
Oh, right.
Yep. And but EVO, I had been telling her for years. I was like, man, I want to go to EVO, but I can never go because of work and money and stuff like that. But when we finally went in 2018, I ain't gonna lie, it wasn't a good time. It was a bad time. It was, because we went to EVO, right? And I was like, I'm gonna be here all day doing my thing. And I was like, I know you won't like it, so you should invite one of your friends, and y'all can do whatever y'all do, and then I'll be here at EVO. It was bad. It was bad, right? So fast forward. We're not even gonna talk about that.
Should have left her at home.
We're not even gonna talk about that. Fast forward to 2019. We went again, and it was just her and I. And I had told her about, cosplay and stuff like that. And she was super into that, surprisingly. And she went dressed as Poison. And she was a pretty good Poison. And she had a super good time. Yeah, people were asking to take pictures with her and stuff like that. And she ate it up. So it was a good time, man. And then she actually sat and watched the tournaments and stuff. She asked a whole bunch of questions, and I was like, cool. But it was a different experience because I'm used to her not liking games that much at all. And then all of a sudden she's at this gaming convention tournament dressed up as one of the characters. So it was a pretty good time, man. So
she didn't like it in 2018, and then the next year she was in love with
2018, it was more I was like, hey, I want to go to this tournament. She's like, okay. She's like, well, I'm going to be doing this if you're doing that. And I was like, all right, invite a friend, right? So she was more like, that's your thing. You go do that. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's my thing. I'm going to do that. But once I
got you.
But the following year, once I told her, about the cosplay and all this stuff, because she already to do makeup and dress up and stuff. So she went and did that, and it was a success. I was super surprised.
That was just right up her alley.
Yeah. It worked out real good. But anyway,
what's up.
Enough about that. Torian, what about?
Yes, Concha.
What is an EVO moment for you that you can remember?
Well, an EVO moment for me that I can remember, and it kind of empowers this podcast. I'm not going to elaborate on it too much, but it will always have special meaning to me. It relates to Street Fighter. Of course, we all go way back with Street Fighter. There's this. He's considered one of the. He's considered one of the Japanese. I think it's 5 of them, but the Japanese 5 fighting game gods or something like that. Takedo.
Okay.
So EVO 2017 was his year. He does an absolutely thrilling performance, and he's up against up-and-coming brawler Punk.
Right.
And Punk was carrying USA on his shoulders. And Punk was in grand finals on winner's side, and everyone was convinced he would win. And he was playing out of his mind, my dudes. Mama Punk was in the crowd. The crowd was going wild, and he's just exhibiting this peerless play, and he's playing Karin. People call her Karen, but her name is Karin.
Right.
She's the equivalent of Sakura. They're like rivals, as Ryu is to Ken. And he was blowing everybody out of the water. And Takedo included got put into losers bracket. And they call Takedo the murder face because he has this glare, but he's really a nice guy. And he proceeds to make a tear out of the losers bracket, lower bracket, and he makes it all the way back to grand finals. And he proceeds to bring it all the way back. And this moment is special to me for two reasons.
Right.
It shows how a bit toxic the crowd can be because they expected Punk to win and he fell to second. It also shows that Punk, he took that loss hard. He was devastated. It was very interesting to watch. I felt bad for him. He was crying on stage. He took it really, really hard. Really hard. But his mom, and I take that stuff, it's sentimental to me because I lost my mom years ago. But his mom was still cheering for him, even though he got second place. His mom, Mama Punk, is what they call her. She's out there just yelling at the top of her lungs. That's my son, you know. And he's crying, and Taquito pats him on the shoulder and tells him it's going to be okay. But the moment, the reason this is so special, Gutex, I don't know if y'all remember the excellent adventures of Gutex and Mike Ross. Gutex was interviewing Taquito. And he goes to Taquito and he says, Taquito, do you have anything you want to say? And Taquito looks at the screen and, you know, he just says these words and the crowd erupts and it's like a storybook Disney moment. It was so good. He says, fighting games are so great. And the crowd just erupts. And if you think about what he's saying, he started playing fighting games. He kept grinding them. All the competition when he was younger, you know, arcade cabinets, stuff like that. He probably never thought he'd be flown out to Vegas, international competition, and he wins. And they asked him in front of these hundreds of thousands of people, what does he want to say? And he says, fighting games are so great. And he nails it, which they are. And the icing on the cake is I'm a very big fan of Ultra David and James Chin. And people make fun of James Chin because he's a crybaby a little bit. And Taquito says fighting games is so great. And James Chin, they pan the camera to him and he's like, don't do this. And he's crying. He's crying his eyes out because Taquito said that. And then Ultra David's sitting there smiling at the screen. And you have to imagine me. That was like what? Like almost 6 years ago. You have to imagine me, like, I'm looking at it. I'm like, boy, this is a really good feeling, really good scene to watch on TV. So that's an extraordinary, hyped up moment to me. That was a very good moment. And that's my moment. That was a good, what is it? That was a good, yeah. But that was a good question, BLJ. You got me digging in the file cabinet to bring these out. We're making a time machine, but yeah, that was good.
No, that was a different answer. I really thought it was going to be like what anybody's answer would be. Yeah, like, you know, some crazy gameplay moment, but that's a bit different because I definitely I wasn't thinking about that, but I do remember all that though. That was a good time to see, good thing to watch when it happened.
And I'm sure you saw plenty of this when the times you've been there as well, BLJ. Like, there are a lot of emotions at EVO, especially once you get to the top 8. Like, I don't even remember the player or the game, but there was a guy that was in the top 4 and got knocked out, and his girlfriend or wife was just like, it's like she was letting out all the emotions that he couldn't while he was on stage.
Right.
And then once he got off stage and they met up, then he could let it all out.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I mean, she was like on the ground, like, just bawling her eyes out for him.
Oh no.
And then once he got there, you know, they hug and he starts crying too because he realizes that it's over.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there's a lot of emotions at EVO, and
yeah,
it's just a whole different thing. I think everybody should go at least once if you're into fighting games at all. Try to go at least once.
Yeah. I would say for myself personally, my most hypest moment would probably be the very first time I went, and there was a lot of stuff going on. I remember watching Gamer Blee and Justin Wong play and Daigo play. Shoot, I even took a picture with Daigo. I waited in line to take a picture with this dude. It's on my Facebook too. But No, but man, he's so small, man. But no, I'll say my most hype moment, man, is just my first time going in 2010. So
Yeah.
I just very, very brief story, right? Very brief story. So back then, I had just learned what EVO was, probably not even a year before that. Like I really didn't know EVO exists back in 2008, 9. Whenever Street Fighter 4 came out, like I didn't know about the tournament scene or anything like that. You know what I mean? I was just a dude, in college playing college ball, playing Street Fighter online, getting blown up, and just trying to get better. But like I had no
Yeah.
idea about the top players or anything like that. So I remember one day I was looking combo videos for Street Fighter 4 so I can learn some combos. And then I remember looking at these Japanese gameplay videos of like people playing like vanilla Street Fighter. This is back when Sagat was taking off 50% life, super easy. This is when Akuma could do his standing heavy kick, like the two kicks into jab and then heavy kick again and the jab, like he could just link it like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember because I was looking for stuff like that. I was like, what? Like people doing this and on top of that, the Japanese commentary, they like, oh, wow, whatever they say. I don't know what they say. I'm not trying to be, make fun of them.
Yeah, we get what you're saying.
That's what it sounds like. And I'm like, man, what is this? Like, I didn't know people, play the game like this. So as time goes on, I look for more videos, and next thing you know, like I see like Justin Wong footage and Sanford Kelly footage. And I was like, oh man, I never heard of these dudes before. So like these dudes are super new to me. So anyways, I keep looking at tournament footage and stuff like that. And the next thing you know, I find out about EVO because some EVO footage came up. I was like, what is this? And I want to say the next year, I was thinking about signing up to play in EVO, but I waited too late, so the registration was over with.
That sucks.
I couldn't sign up for it. So I remember I was sitting with my mom, and I told her about it. I was like, "Man, this is tournament going on. It looks cool. I want to go." And she was like, "You should sign up for it." And I was like, "Nah, it's too late." She was like, "Just look and see." And I was like, "Nah, I can't do that." She was like, "Just look and see if you can do it." And I was like, "Nah, it ain't gonna work like that. It's too late." And she was wanting me to like go because she wanted to go with me because she liked the whole casino stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So she was really trying to get me to go so she can go and go do her own thing.
Yeah.
So, anyways, this was literally like, man, maybe like a day or two before EVO, like when we're having this conversation. So, you know what? I think it was the day before EVO. I think when we were having this conversation, the next day was EVO, right? And I had no intentions of going, but I wanted to go, but couldn't go. So, anyways, after doing more research, back then you could go to EVO for free. Like you can literally walk in there and it was free
as a spectator.
Yeah, and I was like, oh shoot, like it's free. So I remember I told my mom, I was like, you know what, it's free. Like maybe I'll just go and watch. And she was like, okay, well let's go. So literally, it's like 20.
Say less.
Yeah, like this 20-minute conversation turned into, well, we're going to Vegas tomorrow. I'm going to do EVO, and she's gonna do her own thing. So the next day, man, I remember I drove us out there, and I was doing my EVO thing, and she was doing her casino thing. But man, like when I say like I was like a kid in a candy store, or like you know how some people might say, man, for me to be in my zone, like I just be on my boat and I just be out there fishing. Like that's what gets me. Some people that might be their thing.
Yeah.
That's what that felt like for me. Like I was in there, I seen Mortal Kombat here, Street Fighter here. I seen all these people that was there for the same reason I was. Like if we didn't play the same fighting game, like we were there for fighting games, And I just thought that was so dope, man. So like I said, like these people that I was looking at on these YouTube videos, like I was walking right past them, sitting next to them, and I didn't even know who they were at the time. Like actually, I think it's a picture I got on my Facebook while I'm sitting next to Yipes. But back then, I didn't even know who he was. Like I didn't know like he was a Marvel guy, Marvel 2 guy. Like I literally didn't know anything about him, but like, I was like, oh, I was sitting next to this dude. He's a beast, you know. But I had no idea, you know what I mean. But it was a really good
Just sitting
time,
next
man.
to royalty.
Yeah, like it was a super good time, man. Just the whole environment, man, just electrifying.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? People fighting, you know, crazy combats and stuff like that, and people just like yelling, and like it was super crazy, man. Like I even think I recorded because back then I actually came with a camera to EVO and like an actual like, you know, like the camera you hold, and what do you call those cameras? Like a, you know, the ones.
A camcorder?
Yeah, like a camcorder, yes. And I remember recording videos and putting them on my YouTube.
Showing our age.
Man, yeah. For real. And I remember recording some footage. I'm see if I could send it to you to put it up while I'm talking about it. But man, it was a good time, man. That's probably one of my EVO moments, man. Like it was a lot of stuff going on there. Like matches and stuff, like crazy stuff going on during the matches, watching Gamer B, Sanford Kelly, and all that. But me just being there, man, like, I'll never forget that. It was super hype.
Oh yeah.
Super hype. But
like you said, being there is just, it's a whole different experience.
Oh, for sure. Shoot, I remember I think last time I went, I don't know if it was the last time I went, they announced Janemba for Dragon Ball Fighters. And I just remember like everybody was just in there just like yelling like, oh, you know, just it just be super hype, man. Like it's just a great time. Yep. You know what I mean?
When I was there is when they announced Raiden for Mortal Kombat X.
Okay. Yep.
And same thing, like the whole crowd's just super hyped, and it's the entire room too. And you know, people are there for different fighting games.
Yep.
But the entire room is hyped for this trailer.
Yep.
To see Raiden just doing all these crazy combos.
Yep. Yep. No, it's a really good time, man. It's a really good time.
Oh yeah.
I want to say since I started going, like, let me see, 18 and 19, and I was planning on going the next 2 years, but because of the pandemic, like I really want to make that like a yearly thing. Like if I don't do anything else, like I want to make sure I go there, whether I'm competing or spectating. Like it's just a really good time. You know what I mean?
Well, now you're going this time for a different reason, though, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm actually going to be a vendor there selling my artwork. So
yes, sir.
Your boy Super Juice Boy, I'm super excited, man. Shoot, I remember when I went in 18, I had just started drawing, and I remember going to EVO, and I was super excited to go to the artist alley just to see all the different artwork that the artists were doing and to ask questions and things of that nature. And that's exactly what I did. I went there and people I didn't even know. I was like, hey, what's up? You know, I see you do this type of artwork. How do you do this? How do you do that? You know, and I want to say even from those moments, some of those guys I still keep in contact with these to this day, you know, and even if I got art questions now, they still answer them. Just like, you know.
That's nice.
Yeah. They like the art community is super nice.
Sir?
Nice folks.
My name is BLJ34 and I want to do art. Could you give me some pointers?
Yeah, that's exactly how you said it.
Yep. But no, I'm gonna be there this year. I got a booth. I already paid for it. I'm already set up. All I gotta do is just go there and actually set up my booth. But as we speak,
they got you in the main hall.
Yeah. So this year they got the artist alley like right in the middle of the whole event. So
tell the people where they can find you.
Oh man, hold on, wait, man. You put me on the spot. I'm gonna tell it later on, man, because they got it. I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna put it up. But previous years they would have the artist alley kind of in the back of the whole ballroom, and you have to like go there and like, you know, look for it or whatever. And it was always very busy, but this time it's right in the middle, so it's bound to be way more traffic, you know, just because of the spot of the artist alley. So I'm super excited about that.
I'm sure they've got it in a different building now, right?
No, it's in Mandalay Bay.
Okay, yeah. Well, I see. When I went, it was in the Vegas Convention Center.
Oh yeah, they had it in Mandalay Bay in 19 and 18, I think. And this,
I missed the fancy party.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's in Mandalay Bay, and then finals day is in the Luxor, the esports arena.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh.
You know, so
that's legit.
Yeah, man. I didn't go to that last year. Like, I just went to the first 2 days just to, watch the tournaments and stuff. And then me and not last year, but in 19. And then me and my ex, we left on that Sunday, finals day or whatever. But this year, I'm going to go to that finals day. So it should be a good time, man. Should be a good time. But
I'm sure you will have a great time.
Yep. Actually, as we speak, your boy working on artwork right now for the event.
That's what you call persistence.
You know what I'm saying? I gotta be ready, man. Gotta be ready. But anyways, enough about EVO. Let's get into today's main topic. Today's topic is about, I don't even know how to word it. Old gyms, old school gyms, games, old games that we played back in the day that are either forgotten about today, or maybe it's just a certain game you like back in the day and why you like it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what today's topic is about. So I'm gonna pass it on to, I don't know who wants to go next. Who's got a game?
I'll let you take this one, Toro. I took the last one first.
I'll take it. I ain't got no problem with that. Old gyms. I will reach into my sack and pull out an old gym right now.
Family-friendly stream.
Oh, man. Thanks for the reminder. I'll pull in, you know what I'm saying? I want to take it all the way back to the Sega Genesis console. And there's this hidden gem called Comic Zone, COMIX Zone. And it's a very unique take on a action adventure beat 'em up. You're this comic book creator, or you're controlling this comic book creator by the name of Sketch Turner. And he draws comics for a living. And a freak accident happened where lightning strikes near him outside. And it causes his comic book character, the main villain, to become real. And he comes out of the comic book and he grabs him by his throat or whatever. And he puts him in the comic book. And the villain antagonist is drawing pages of villains to try to stop Sketch. So Sketch has to fight all these villains and bosses that the main antagonist draws in order to get out of the comic book and reclaim his life. And that game is amazing. What is that they say? The game is ahead of its time.
Okay.
That game is very ahead of its time.
And what kind of game is this?
To me, it's an action adventure beat 'em up. Like, you go from panels on Sega Genesis, 16-bit, my guy. Yeah. So you going through the comic book pages and you're beating up enemy after enemy. Sketch Turner has a pet rat. His name is Roadkill, and Roadkill got brought into the game too. And this was before Pikachu. Roadkill is like this big ass rat, but he has electric powers. And you set Roadkill on the ground, and he'll zap your enemies. There's all kind of secrets. If you set Roadkill on the ground, also he'll crawl around sometimes, and he'll scratch at the comic book page and reveal hidden items. So that was cool too.
That's pretty sick.
So what you're saying is the creators of Comic Zone need to file suit with the Pokemon Company for royalties.
Oh, man. Maybe so. Another cool thing is there's this little power-up on the ground. It's like a fist. If Sketch picks it up, he turns into the superhero guy. And it's only for like a few seconds, like 2 or 3 seconds. And he yells out like power blast or whatever. And he slams the ground and he destroys everything on the screen. Back then, that was so cool to look. You already had those guys. You remember back in the day where you had to stand in line and hurry up and write down tips and tricks from the Tips and Tricks magazine on your notepad?
Yeah.
Well, somebody put in there that you could play as the superhero Sketch by entering a code. And man, I wrote that code down. I tried that code probably like 200 times. And I was convinced that I wrote it down wrong, but it was a hoax. But cool thing,
they got you.
they let me down, man. Cool thing about that game, it has alternate endings.
Okay.
If anybody is looking to play this, I don't want to give spoilers because you can get it on the PlayStation. I don't know if you can get it on other systems, but the PlayStation Digital Store, it's the Sega Genesis Classics Collection. But given your performance in the game, that's how I know this game was ahead of its time. You can get
Hold
two
on, you
different
just blew
endings.
my mind.
What's up?
They've got Sega Genesis Classics on the PlayStation Store?
Yes, like Classic Collection. Indeed, they do.
I did not know
I'll
this.
Show it to you later. Yes. You can play Vector Man, the Sonic games, all the Streets of Rages,
Bro,
all
get
the
out
Golden
of
Axes.
here.
Yeah, I thought
Bro.
y'all knew that. Oh, man. I thought y'all knew that.
Nope, had no idea.
I'll have to show y'all.
Oh, my
Yes.
goodness. Boy,
I have
I'm
it.
about to buy that right now.
Yep, I have it. But back to what I was saying, and I don't want y'all feeling bad.
Sorry.
Y'all didn't interrupt me or anything. No, it's good. Given your performance, you can have different endings, two different endings, a good ending and a bad ending. I won't share what they are. If you want to spoil it for yourself, feel free to look on YouTube. But that game is way ahead of its time, and it's still a crown gem, and people are begging them to either remake it or follow it with a sequel. And we haven't heard anything yet. I'm going to take the spotlight once more because I want to get both of mine out the way. That way y'all can do y'all's.
Yep.
Well, before you move on, I actually have a question for you on Comic Zone. So you're saying people have been begging for more. If it were up to you, would you want to see a remaster, a remake, or a sequel?
That is a fantastic question, my dude. The answer is both because, spoiler alert, when you beat Comic Zone, the good ending, it leaves you with all was well until, and then that's it. So they were planning a sequel. And a remastered version of this game, like I want the controls and stuff to be all the same. And even now for a 16-bit Genesis game, it looks really good. But if they, remaster it, high definition anime graphics, I would flip out. It's so cool. Like they have hidden Easter eggs. Like if you press the down on the D-pad rapidly with sketch, you press it enough times, it'll fart. You know what I mean? It's funny stuff like that. Or he'll smell his shoe. If you sit idle long enough and he smells the shoe, he'll smell it and be like, "Oh man!" Like that game is way ahead of its time, and a sequel would be great. So if it were up to me, I would have them do both.
Okay.
It's really, really great game. But my second gem, I'm gonna pull out of my sack. Whoa, better watch their rating. My second gem. And I'm sure y'all have heard of this game, Golden Axe. I played Golden Axe 1, 2, and 3. I love those games. Gilius Thunderhead.
I have heard of it.
Axe Battler, Tyrus Flare. Those three are badasses, legendary heroes, and they fight to protect the weak, and they're trying to drive this evil force named Death Adder out of the land. And those games were a big part of my childhood, and you could co-op 2 players, of course. It was 3 heroes. One always got left out, but those games were amazing. Really good games.
Is that
I played that one a little bit with you.
Was that a beat 'em up?
Yes. It introduced magic. Like Tyrus Flare had fire. Axe Battler had earth, stone magic, and no, I take it back. Sorry. Gilius Thunderhead had stone magic. And Axe Battler had wind magic, and they all look so badass. I'm gonna try to get Lambo. Man, our editor goes above and beyond to our listeners, but I'm gonna try to get him. Oh man, I'm gonna get him to pull up the cover art for Golden Axe 2. Look how cool this art is. Do you see how Axe Battler has that intense look on his face and he's holding his blade and Tyrus Flare is sitting there. She's on a mount on this dragon, and this artwork is just OP. It's overpowered. And you see Gilius sitting here with his axe. Gilius is a dwarf, by the way, and he has his horned helmet. This is badass artwork. And imagine if you were a little kid and you're in your, like, they used to sell these games in the department store. There was no FX store or GameStop. These games were on display in like Kmart and Sears and stuff like that. It shows you how ancient me and Lambo are. But you ask your parents to get you these games, and imagine being a little kid and you open up the Golden Axe case and you see all these badasses on the cover. And then you open up the game and you put the cartridge in and it delivers. It's an amazing game.
That is some good cover art, though, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That art style that we had back then for a lot of the Nintendo and Genesis games, where a lot of it was hand drawn and it wasn't screen grabs or in-engine or anything like that. And this is a great example of some of that artwork style from back then.
I agree. For those wondering, the artwork that we put up, it's the Golden Axe 2 artwork. But Golden Axe 1 was just as good. 3 was okay. They introduced some new characters. It wasn't terrible. But 1 and 2 is where it's at for me. They have these iconic screams and all this other stuff. And you can get on mounts like Tyrus Flare. She's on that dragon, riding on it. You can.
I was about to ask, is that one of the mounts?
Yeah, you can ride one of those. It doesn't look that epic, it's Genesis, but red dragons, red dragons, green dragons. They have this bird-looking mount. I'm gonna try to see if we can get some footage of it, but they have this bird-looking mount. Me and my brother used to call it the chicken wing.
Oh, I remember that mount.
It has like flame on its tail. It's an epic game. So those that have not played Golden Axe before, highly recommend that you get Sega Genesis Classic Collection. Shameless plug. This is not sponsored, but I'm encouraging you to give these games a try. And those games are amazing. And those are my 2 gems. And that was actually a great topic, but yeah, those are good.
I'm actually.
See, now I feel kind of dumb.
Oh, why do you feel dumb? Why do you say that?
Because I was just saying that I played Golden Axe with Toro on GameShare and didn't even realize that it was a Sega game and we were playing Sega Classics, and I didn't put that together until just now.
You thought that was the PlayStation?
No, I thought for some reason it was the Capcom Beat 'em Up bundle.
Ah, okay. Man, I'm sitting up here looking at the artwork for Golden Axe 1.
Yes.
I didn't play this game, but this old man, he's super beefed up.
Mm-hmm.
Ilias, the dwarf?
Yeah, the
I'm
dude
pretty sure that's who you're talking about.
Yeah, he got the green helmet on.
Yeah, that's Gilius.
Man, they like Hulk Hogan. He's super buff. That's what's up.
You should look up the Golden Axe 2 cover art. That one's...
No, I think that one, with the woman riding the dragon, and
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's pretty great. I enjoy that.
Yeah, that game was fun, the little bit that I played with you.
Oh, yeah.
Man. What about you?
Now, with that one, you want to see them make a new one?
Yes. Fun fact, they made a new one for PS3, but they kind of strayed away from what worked, and they just added Tyrus Flare.
Yeah.
And, they want to do the whole sexualized thing. And she didn't look like Tyrus already has a bikini or whatever, but this one looked more modernized. And I didn't play it. I probably would still play it. It didn't sell as well as they hoped. It did good, but it didn't do as well as they wanted to. So that's why.
So it wasn't
I know.
It wasn't a beat 'em up.
Yeah, it was a single player beat 'em up though. It was one player, so a lot of people was not too happy about that. They didn't like that.
Because I imagine the fun in that game is playing with other people, not by yourself.
Sure.
Sometimes you make you wonder, man, who be at these group meetings making these decisions? Like, hey guys, let's take out what's fun in the game,
Not the right people.
Yeah, you're right.
No.
I agree. That doesn't make any sense.
Silly people. The clowns.
What about you, Lambo? What gems you got for us?
Man, I'm gonna throw it back as well. I'm gonna go to the original PlayStation. There was a little game that was released towards the end of the life cycle. I think the PS2 might have already been out actually for a little while. So this was one that didn't get a lot of attention because a lot of people had already moved on and moved to the next generation, and so this one just didn't get the attention that I feel like it should have got. But it's called The Legend of Dragoon. It's an RPG, very similar to Final Fantasy, or I think they had other Legend of blank series that weren't related to Legend of Dragoon, I don't believe. I think they were from different developers. And then you had Xenogears and other RPGs like that. Like the PlayStation 1 era was kind of the golden era of JRPGs. But with Legend of Dragoon, it follows a group of 7 people. With your main character that you play goes by the name of Dart. And throughout the story, you find Dragoon eyes that grant each party member the ability to transform into a Dragoon, which is a warrior of legend that the legend's been passed down through the generations, but they haven't been seen in, I think it's like 1,000 years or longer. And it grants you like this really cool, unique armor set for each one. Each Dragoon is tied to a different colored dragon that grants them different elemental abilities. But for me, what I really liked about it was the combat system. Traditionally in RPGs, like you had talked about in a previous episode, BLJ, you played a little bit of Final Fantasy VII,
Yeah.
and you didn't like the turn-based combat, right?
No, not at all.
So you still have that turn-based combat, but the way they spice it up in Legend of Dragoon is they have the addition system.
Okay.
And what it does is it has a timing marker on the screen, and if you press the attack button, like you initiate your attack, and then the timing marker will show up, and if you press the attack button at the right time, your character will do another attack. And each character had multiple different additions, is what they called them, which really you could think of them as combos. So each character would start with a basic combo that was only 2 or 3 hits. So you'd go in, you'd hit the attack button, and then press it again at the right time, do your second or third hit, and the combo would be over. But as you got better at mastering that combo and leveling up your character, each character would learn more additions.
Okay.
And you'd get to the point where I think almost every character had a combo that was 7 or 8 hits, but the timing was always different too. There was a rhythmic timing to each combo, and each character's combos were different, and each combo with a specific character was different from each other. The timing was never the same, so you had to learn each combo and the timing to go with it. And for me, I felt like that was a really good way of spicing up the kind of, at that point, stale turn-based combat. And it adds a lot of customization to each character, because you and I could play that game and you may have an easier time pulling off a certain combo, whereas I have an easier time pulling off another one. And the benefit to doing different combos was each combo built up your meter that you needed to turn into a Dragoon. So the longer combos would obviously give you more, what was it called? I think it was called SP, like spirit points or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Each combo would give you a different amount, and the more hits you got out of the combo, the more you got. And if you finished the combo, you got a little bonus extra SP for finishing the combo. So even just yourself playing, you may want to change up what combos you're doing to fit your specific play style. Like if you're not worried about going for Dragoon power-ups, you could do another combo that rewards less SP but does more damage overall. So it was a really nice way to add a lot of customization to a combat system that otherwise would have just been standard turn-based.
Okay.
But I also really like the story in it. We've talked about Edgelord Lambo many times. And, it was a darker story. I want to say darker than Final Fantasy VII, but 7 was kind of dark in a lot of places. But it was one of those like the world is going to end if we don't succeed type of stories. And I really love the characters. I love that they were all different. You had Dart, like I said, the main character was kind of your standard hero and like just a little bit of armor with a broad bastard sword, I think is what he had. Then you had another character named Rose, who was a nimble female a fencer, I guess is the right word. She used a rapier. Then you had another character, Shauna, who used a bow. You had a character, Herschel, used his fists. And then my favorite character, which everybody loves to hate, is Kongal, who basically was my he was my Astaroth before I played Astaroth. He's a big brute with an axe.
Okay.
And that game's really good. I had a lot of fun with it. The grind is pretty tough in it. You actually gain more XP the less characters you have alive at the end of the battle, which is weird. I think that was probably an oversight in development, but you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just had a lot of fun with that game. Played it multiple times and I've enjoyed it every time.
What's up? Do you got another one, or is that it?
No, that's my big one, man. I'm gonna save. I've got another one I could talk about, but it's another one I'm gonna go on for a while, so I'm gonna save that for possible part 2.
Okay. I got a few. I'm not going to, name all of them. I'm about to name one briefly, and then I'm gonna give you like 2 quick ones, right? And the reason I got excited a little earlier when Toro mentioned this, because I was like, "Oh man, this game!" and I pulled it up on my phone, and it was Vector Man. I remember
Vector Man.
Yeah, I was looking at my phone. I was like, "Man, Vector Man was the stuff back in the day." I don't remember much about it, but I remember at the time when it came out, like the action was pretty top tier. Like how it moved pretty fluid. What do you call those games? It's not a bullet hell game. What kind of game is that? What do you classify that as? I'm not even sure.
I don't
Vector
know.
Man. Vector
I've never
Man
played
is a
Vector
platformer.
Man.
Okay, your platformer.
Platformer.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So I remember at the time, my older brother had got that game, and I think we had saw like the commercial on TV, and then he went to the video store. That's what we used to call them back in Georgia, the video store, and he rented it, and then we had that thing. Boy, we played that thing forever. It was pretty sick. But I don't remember much about it. I remember how it looked. I don't remember the story or anything like that. But that's one for me. But now let me get into like the meat and potatoes. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Now, do you guys remember EA Big? Like EA Sports?
I do not. Oh, EA Sports is in the game.
Yeah,
Yes.
they used to have a
EA
different branch
Sports.
called EA.
It's in the game.
It was called EA Big, and that's where they made their like arcade sports games, like NFL Street, NBA Street. Did y'all play those?
I do remember playing NFL Street.
What about you, Toro? Did you ever play any of those?
No, I did not. Well, NFL Street, NBA Street, I played them a little bit.
Oh,
when
man.
NBA Street came out, I played it a little bit. Yeah.
Well, I got 2 EA Big games. I really got 3, but I'm just gonna name 2 right now. But my first one, actually, and maybe this is a conversation for another time, but like, if you had to name like your top 10 games like ever, and I know that's super hard to do, but these 2 games right
interesting.
Yeah.
These 2 games right here might be on my list, and they both by EA Big. I'm gonna go with the first one. NBA Street Volume 2. Man.
Okay.
Did y'all play that back in the day?
I played it a little bit, not too much.
NBA Street Volume 2.
I only played NFL Street.
Oh my goodness. So NBA Street Volume 2 was super legit, right? At the time, it had like this, I don't even know the art style it had, but the characters looked kind of like, they kind of like waxy figures. They looked a little strange. But in this game, they had old school Michael Jordan in there that you could unlock. So like it had the Michael Jordan that had the Converse on, like the high top socks and stuff like that. Super fun game, man. I remember one thing I really liked about the game was they didn't have their full NBA uniforms on. They had like the NBA like jersey, but the shorts were just like some normal shorts that you and I probably got on right now. Like they really didn't look like NBA players. It looked like going to a pickup game at the gym and people playing in clothes like that. But But one cool thing about it though, every game was to 21, like a regular game of 21. But they had what was called game breakers in the game. So basically, you had this meter, and whenever you got it full by, I think like dunking on people and also doing the fancy dribbling moves and stuff like that. And whenever you get that meter up, you could like the screen filter would change. And if I remember correctly, whenever you have the ball in your hands, it had like this like star, like trail of stars, like following the ball, and like all your stats were kind of like boosted up a little bit, if I remember correctly. And you could once you score with a game breaker, it would. Oh, you know what? This is how it was. If you activated game breaker and you got your meter up while it was in game breaker mode, the higher you got your meter, the more points you would get, and the more points you would take away from the other team if you scored while you got your meter up. Yeah. So you can
you can take away points from the other team?
Yeah, so if they got 15 and you got 15 and you get your game breaker meter up, you can go from 1 to 3, like 3 being the highest you can get your meter and 1 being the lowest.
Yeah.
And I think if you got it up to 3, and let's say if you dunked or something, you would get 3 points and it'll take away like 1 or 2 points from them. You know?
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, now that's just cheating.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty sick, man. It was pretty sick, man. But no, and another cool thing about the game was you would play through the story mode, and then they had certain players that were like the boss character of that particular court in that particular city. So they had one character named Biggie Littles. I don't know if you remember. Well, y'all say I didn't play the game, so his name was Biggie Littles, and he was like 5'4". He was super short, right? But his handles, he could dribble the ball like the best in the game. Like his handles was like 100 rating, so you couldn't really steal the ball from him. But like you could block his shots and shit like that because, I mean, he was super short. You know what I mean?
He's short.
Yeah. And then they had a guy on there named Stretch. And he was like an old school baller. He looked like Dr. J. He had like a big afro. He had like pull away pants. Super skinny guy. I think he had like a pick in his head too, like in his hair. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Wasn't he on the cover art for one of them?
Yeah, he was on the cover. Yeah, he was on the cover art for 2. I think it was.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep. So they had him, and then they had a dude named Bonafide, and his highest rating was dunking. So he'd dunk on everybody, But yeah, no, that was a super sick game, man. I remember putting hours into that game and actually playing my friends in that game and like trying not to ever lose. And I was pretty successful in most cases, But so that's my first gym. Amazing game. Shoot, if they had that now, if they made a remake of that now, I would get that day one. It was a great game. My second game is SSX. Did you guys play that?
Oh,
snowboarding
game.
Yes.
Haven't played it, but I know what it is.
Oh my goodness! So they had,
same boat.
Oh man, they had SSX, and then they had the part 2 was called SSX Tricky. That's the one that was super sick, right? And if I remember correctly, I think they had Run DMC. You know that song they got? It's something. It's tricky. That was like the theme song for the game. So that would play while you're racing or whatever. Because SSX was a racing game with snowboards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But one of the main,
weren't you supposed to do stunts too, kind of like Tony
right,
Hawk?
right. So the main like focus of the game was doing tricks, right? So when you do tricks, you'll get a boost meter, and the boost meter was pretty much like turbo. You know what I mean? So to get that meter up, you do tricks while you're racing. But the cool thing about the tricks in that game was they dang near had like skateboarding tricks. And if you know anything about snowboarding, snowboards are latched to your feet. Like you can't take them off. Like they're latched on.
Yeah.
Like they're legit.
I
Like,
have been snowboarding in Colorado once.
yeah, like you can't take them off like while you're skating and then put them on. You know what I mean? But in this game, they could do like kick flips and take the board off and put it around their head, like all kind of crazy shit like that.
Yeah, that sounds crazy.
Yeah, and that was pretty sick.
Unrealistic physics.
Yes, and you jump like 1,000 feet in the air, and
Yep.
But man, that was a game I put hours upon hours into as well. And if they made a remake of that, I would for sure get that one day one. I don't remember if they had like signature moves. Maybe they did. I'm not too sure. Like I said, when I last played that, I was probably 12, 11. I don't even remember when it came out. But
yeah, I want to say SSX Tricky was on PS2, if I remember correctly. Like that generation?
Yep, PS2.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
So that would have been PlayStation 2 and Xbox wasn't out yet, was it?
Xbox came out. Wait, you mean like Xbox?
Or no, that was the first Xbox that came out at PS2.
Yes.
It was PS2 and the original Xbox, right?
Yes. I think so. Yeah. And then Xbox 360 was with PS3. Correct?
Yes.
Am I wrong? Okay.
Yep. And then we had Xbox One with PS4. Yep.
Yeah, but
y'all coming back, man.
If I say I don't know the timeline, so that's y'all.
Yeah, no, but yeah, man.
Now we've got this Xbox One X, so it's confusing.
The sucky thing about EA Big, like that branch of EA Sports, I think they got rid of it.
Was that they were attached to EA?
No, I think they got rid of it because those games like NBA Street and SSX, I don't think they sold like they wanted them to sell, so they like discontinued it. So NBA Street, SSX, NFL Street. I even think they had a soccer game. I think they had FIFA Street. I never played that one, but
yeah, they did have. I forget what it was called, but I know I played that one too.
No,
I just couldn't remember the name of it.
Yeah. But they don't make those games anymore because like they felt like they just didn't sell as well as they wanted them to, and that sucks because those are some of my most favorite games ever, like in life, But I know people don't know.
And they were significantly more fun than their, quote unquote, real counterparts like Madden and FIFA. Like the street games were way more fun.
Yeah. So the thing about the FIFA game, or not the FIFA games, but the EA games, it was kind of like sports on crack. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like the NBA Street, they'll jump 20 feet in the air, where in real life, like nobody can do that. You know what I mean? Or like NFL Street, people will tackle you into wall. NFL Street was basically arena football. So I mean that was actually kind of real. I guess some of the hits were a little exaggerated, like you doing backflips and front flips and all kind of crazy stuff like that. I remember. What's that?
I ain't trying to interrupt you. I was gonna say, kind of remind me of this game for PlayStation 1, NFL Extreme. And that mug was kind of like that too. That was a good game too. But yeah, go ahead.
NFL Extreme. I don't remember that one.
Yeah. You remember NFL Extreme? Oh man, I have to show y'all some footage of that later. But yeah, that was pretty good too. I thought you were going to say Blitz. Nah, I feel like Blitz and NFL Extreme were like, I don't know, like competitors or something. But I enjoyed NFL Extreme. Y'all should look it up. NFL. And it's not EX, it's just X. NFL and then Extreme.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like the 90s.
No, I got to look that one up. I probably remember if I see it, but I definitely don't remember that one.
One of the coolest things of that game, and I'm not trying to put this flashlight on me.
No, go ahead.
When when you would hit somebody, they would always have some kind of smart alecky, like mean comment. Like one of my favorite ones, and y'all gonna say I'm a super nerd, but sometimes at work I'll be randomly, sometimes at work I'll randomly quote quotes from video games and stuff. And one of the coolest things would be if you get hit, like linebacker or something hit you, and then they'll stand over you and you're like, I own you. It'd be like some kind of crazy, and you're like, you're a powder puff. And sometimes when you on offense, when you get the ball and they're running and like they burn everybody, you're all the way, baby. You know, it was cheesy, but that game's really good. But my favorite one is when they hit you, like, now I own you. Like, that mug is legit. I'm going to have to show y'all that clip. But now NFL Extreme was the shit. It was a good game, too.
So I got to ask, who are you running around work saying that to?
Oh, man, I just be running around saying it to myself, shouting it out loud. If somebody in the next aisle over and they hear me say, now I own you. They're like, what the hell? But hey, you know, that's what I do to pass the time.
Man.
Hey, Jimmy, I own you.
That's right.
So while y'all were talking, I actually looked it up. This game looked booty.
Whoa. I asked you to pump the brakes.
Not the good kind either.
Oh, man.
Relax. But that game's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't remember this one. Yeah, but those are my two. Those are my two gems, man. SSX Tricky and NBA Street Volume 2. They came out with other NBA Streets. The first one I never played. Volume 3 I thought was not that good. It just wasn't that fun. I feel like 2 moved more fluid. You know, it just had more action, more fast pace, you know. And then they made, the final one they made was called NBA Street Home Court. And that one was on PS3. And that one was pretty crazy too. If I had to rank them all, that one would be second and Street 2 would be first. But the crazy thing about NBA Street Home Court, they had double dunks in the game. And I don't think people like those. And basically what that was is, if you guys ever played a basketball game and you're running to the hoop and then you press the shoot button or whatever, you know, you can dunk the ball, you know what I mean? But on that game, you basically hold the button and you release it at the last second. And if you did it right, your dude would dunk the ball and then he'll like catch it with his other hand and do like another dunk, like in one go. And it'll be 2 points, you know?
Breaking all the rules.
Yeah. So they had a lot of crazy little animations. Like you can dunk and then like he'll catch the ball, do like a backflip, like on the rim. Like it was pretty bizarre stuff. And then on top of that one, they had women in the game too, which was pretty dope at the time. So you could play with the WNBA players in that game. Yeah, so that was cool. But yeah, for sure though, in NBA Street Volume 2 and SSX Tricky, man, I need those. Like if I could find a PS2 today to get both of those games, I would.
Let's see, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Toro, and I'm going to, with SSX Tricky, or let's just say SSX.
Okay.
If they were to bring it back, would you want a remaster, a remake, or another sequel?
Oh, you know what, man? I feel like if they made a sequel, I would probably, even though it's not a remake, I would, just because of how long ago they made it, I would look at it as a remake. Like, oh, what? They remade SSX, you know? But I guess I would prefer either like a remaster. Wait, hold on, wait. Stop the tape. Stop the tape. And I want to make sure I got this right. So the difference between a remaster and a remake is, and let me know if I'm right or wrong. A remaster is them like making the game all new, like with new like mechanics and stuff, but it's like the same game. It's just a more modernized game versus a remake is them making the old game again, they just make it look better.
You got them
actually
mixed
have them
up
backwards.
Yeah.
Oh, Which one is?
You have the right ideas. You just have them mixed up. A remaster is where they keep all the same old assets and just make them look better, and maybe touch up and fix some of the bugs and gameplay stuff.
Okay.
But a remake is like, do you remember the Crash Bandicoot remakes that they did a couple years ago, and the Spyro remakes where they rebuilt them from the ground up?
Oh, okay. Yeah, those are remakes.
Yeah, that's a remake.
Okay. No, I would definitely prefer a remake. Like today's graphics and what they can do with games, I would definitely love a remake of SSX for sure.
Just start from scratch.
Yes. Day one pickup. But yeah, man.
Yeah, that'd be a hell of a time too.
Yeah.
Be another great game for us to stream.
Yeah.
So BLJ can show us all the lines in SSX.
Hell yeah.
Oh man, no, that was a dope game, man, for sure. Like I love that game. And like I said, like if I had to have a list of my top games ever, like those two games would for sure be in there. And it makes me sad, man, that two games from the same like company, they don't even make the games anymore. You know what I mean? So it's tough, man.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of dead franchises like that aren't coming back. Another, one for me is the Legacy of Kain series. Like,
what is that
the
one?
The story's been wrapped up. So
what kind of game was that?
So that was a like a puzzle solving action adventure series.
Okay.
Revolving around two vampires. And there were 5 games total in the series, but the series had two different storylines. So you had the Soul Reaver games and the Blood Omen games.
Yeah.
And the Soul Reaver games followed one of the vampires, and the Blood Omen games followed the other vampire. And it was a very narrative focused game, but like you were just kind of playing through this story of fate and trying to fight against it. And like they were just really good storytelling games. Okay. And I'd love to see the series come back, but they tried to resurrect it back in 2016, I think it was, with a multiplayer spinoff, and it didn't do well. And they also tried to bring it back on PlayStation 3. They had it was going to be a new story set like hundreds or thousands of years in the future. I forget which one. Called Lost Sun, I think it was. But that one never actually got completed. It got canceled mid-production. Man. So, unfortunately, I don't think Legacy of Kain is coming back anytime soon.
Oh, man. So I got one last question for you guys. And this is more of a question that nobody really knows, but just give me your opinions on it. So with the topic of being old gems, games like that, I don't know how you guys felt about those games when you first played them back in the day, but eventually they became a game so important to you where now we'll refer to them as old gems. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's any games currently that you feel like 15 years from now, you're like, man, you remember that game?
Ghost of Tsushima. I'm not going to let you finish the question. Ghost of fucking Tsushima. That game is goated. That game is amazing. God damn it. Ghost of fucking Tsushima. Go show! I still hear Go show in my goddamn dreams. Go show! Arch is going to teach you the word Go show, but yeah, Ghost of Tsushima.
What about you, Lambo?
It's hard for me to say that or answer the question because I don't know if this series is going to fall off. I suspect it will, since most series do. But the Dark Souls series is probably going to be that way for me. Especially Dark Souls 3. I really had a lot of fun with that game. It's the first one where I really got into the PvP side of it and just really put a lot of time into it outside of just getting all the trophies.
Right.
So, yeah, that'd probably be it for me. Which, granted, that game's a couple years old already, but I think it still fits the mold.
Yeah. I don't know about a game in particular for me that I feel like I would have in high regards, 10, 15
Not gonna be
years
Street
from now.
Fighter 6.
I mean, it ain't came out yet, but the way it's looking, it could be, but
With how hyped you've been for it, though.
it definitely won't be Street Fighter 5.
There's just no questions asked. It ain't gonna be 5.
Hey man, hey, you know what? Hey, we kind of long-winded here, and I'm gonna try to wrap this up. But let me take us back. Wait, when did Street Fighter 5 first come out? 15, 16? I think it was 15.
When was that?
Like, when did the beta come out? Let me see.
I want to say it was early 16.
Okay, well, let's just say early 16. Let me take you back
I think
to 26-year-old BLJ34. Rewind music. So I remember. I remember when the beta first came out. Your boy was super juiced up. I was eagerly waiting to download that thing, right? And I finally got the game downloaded, and I think they had I forget the characters they had on it. I know they had Ryu, Ken, Vega. I don't know, but I remember I just ran Ryu.
Chun-Li, I think, was the other one.
Yeah. And I remember I ran Ryu the whole time, man. And I remember I played that thing for 8 hours straight. Like, I really grinded it out. I was like, man, this game is so dope. Like the graphics is cool. You know what I'm saying? The combat is nice. I like the animations when they get hit. It's like you can feel it. Like the hits actually got some weight on them, I was like, man, this is just a breath of fresh air from Street Fighter 4. You know what I'm saying? And then as time progressed and then the actual game came out, man, and I started playing that thing a little bit more, man, that game was hot booty cakes. It was fun because it was new, but as time progressed and I seen how they limited everything, I was so disappointed, man. I was like, what did they do to my game? You know what I'm saying? So it definitely.
I think a lot of us had that experience with 5.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to make this long-winded because we're gonna wrap it up or whatever. But that's definitely not going to be held in high regard to me. And I know towards the end of the game's life, they added more combos and V triggers and V shifts and stuff. But by the time they added all that, I was already out the window, man. Like, I wasn't really feeling it like that. So it sucks, man. It hurt your boy.
I mean, you could always go back and play 4.
I do sometimes. Like, very rarely I go into practice mode or I play online or whatever, but I for sure have way more fun with that than I do 5. And who knows? I feel like maybe 5 might be that. 10 more years. Actually, no. When did 4 come out? In 09?
Yeah, it was somewhere around there, 08, 09.
Huh.
Yeah.
So I guess I could say if I feel that way about it now. I guess I do. But not 5, though. 5 is not. 5 is
not 5.
Garbaggio. Get that out of my face. Never again.
Garbaggio.
Hefty garbage bag.
I can't even believe I wasted my sound on that hot mess. Oh.
Yeah, 5 was pretty bad.
Yeah.
All right, well, we gonna start shutting the party down for y'all. Go in another rant about 5. We'll stuff that in another episode because we could go on about that forever and ever.
Before it turns into a true Texas goodbye.
Oh, yeah. To our faithful listeners, thanks for hanging out with us once again. Thank you for pulling up your virtual chair. I hope you enjoyed our gems. And I hope you enjoyed our topic from earlier. Like, these are all great things. For those wondering, this is totally unscripted. You can tell by all the uhs and oohs and ahs and rewind noises and everything else. But we really enjoy doing this. So I want to appreciate y'all. As tradition, I want to tell y'all it's been an honor. And I'm going to throw it to BLJ and Lambo.
Hey, one last thing. I'll let you close it out, Lambo.
Man, this boy want to talk to y'all today. But yeah, one last thing.
He ain't even from Texas. He's already learned.
Jeez, yeah, he learning.
One last thing. So anyways, so earlier when
one more
when I was talking about EVO, and then Lambo mentioned like where my spot will be at, I looked it up. So for anybody who's looking at this before EVO and y'all are planning on going to EVO, my spot is A12, not A13, not A11, but A12. That's where your boy gonna be at. You know what I'm saying? Super excited.
As Toro would put it, he's A1,
yeah.
2.
You know what I'm saying? A1 dose. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Y'all go ahead and support our boy BLJ. Y'all go meet him. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all do that.
Don't be weird either. You know what I'm saying? I'm weird. But
go give him a fist bump, smack him on the ass, tell him good game.
Whoa. Rewind that one for sure. What are you talking about? Nah, but that's where I'll be at. So if anybody just happens to be there, come check your boy out and then pass it on to Lambo.
Most definitely. And I actually got 2 questions for y'all this time around.
What's that?
If you've been to EVO before, well, for the fans, I got 2 questions. If you've been to EVO before, let us know what your moments were. What really stuck out for you when you were there? And 2, let us know what your forgotten gem is and why you love that game. And if they were to bring it back, if you'd want a remake, remaster, or a sequel. We do read our comments. We're in there all the time. So we enjoy reading them and hearing from you guys and what y'all think.
Let us know.
Yeah, let us know. We'll read them.
But with that being said, I think it's time for us to go hit the bed.
Well, I'm out.
Appreciate y'all sticking around. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe button. No, not all bed together, you weirdo. What's wrong with you?
The hell?
This man Lambo is
unless you want to.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, unless that's what you want.
Oh, no thanks. Signing out.
But yeah, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, tell your friends. The biggest support you guys give us is just letting everybody know that you listen to this show and you enjoy it, and letting them know they should check it out as well. So we do appreciate everybody. And before I start to cry, we'll catch you guys next time.
Later.
All right, y'all. Let's go play Powerpuff Girls Pillow Fight on the PC.
Oh, hey.
I call Blossom.
Wait, one last thing. Hey, didn't they used to have that on the Cartoon Network website, like back in the day?
Yes, that's why I said it. And he was talking about in the bed, pillow fight.
I used to play that. That game was legit super fun back in the day.
Maybe it's a Noob again, man. Is the theme song on yet? Is it singing with me? Thank y'all for playing. Catch y'all later.
All right, man.
I call Buttercup.
Maybe it's a new beginning. Maybe it's the start of where it ends. I know. It comes down to all or nothing. This time it's for real, we can't pretend. You know, they're closing in, and I don't wanna miss a shot. Adrenaline, so give it everything that you got. Don't stop.